Hello and welcome to Mindful Living, where we explore the art of living with the intention, balance, and inner peace. I am Avik, your host, guiding you through conversations on health, meditation, mental well being, mindfulness, and the mind body connection. Each episode features expert insights to help you grow, heal, and thrive. So, take a deep breath, relax, and join us on this journey to a more mindful and fulfilling life. So, let's get started.
Hello and welcome, listeners, to another episode on the Mindful Living podcast, where we are diving into the powerful theme of you are more than where you are. Joining us is Mark Collins, an incredible business and life coach, author, and founder of Freedom for Life LLC. Mark's mission is all about empowering people to break out of their comfort zones and step into their life's full potential. Fun fact, not only has Mark transformed hundreds of lives through his Life Mastery online course, but he's also a seasoned conference speaker, sharing his insights on living life by design, not by default. So get ready, everyone, to be inspired to move beyond any limitations and discover what you are truly capable of. So let's get started. Mark, welcome to the show, and it is an absolute pleasure to have you with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited for the conversation.
Great. So, Mark, can you share what inspired you to develop Life Mastery and the concept of living life by design?
Yeah, absolutely. It's my belief that every person has a passion, an impact, a desire on the inside, something that's theirs. Typically, as you may know in your life for sure, and mine as well, when we're younger, we dream big dreams.
Yep.
We have ideas and thoughts and visions on, all the possibilities of the things that could happen in our lives. And then many times life happens and challenge happens and obstacles happen. And you find out that it's not as easy as just dreaming, that there's some doing that's involved. And so I believe that sometimes we let our life and our experience in our past kind of dull that fire that we have on the inside. And so for me, one of the things I do, for sure in our Life Mastery courses, help people to unleash who they are, but it's really first and foremost to rekindle that passion, that understanding that there is truth in what you believe, that there's more for your life than where you're at, and that there is an ability to get there, and beyond that, that you're capable of succeeding in that place, that it's not something that's far off or just for those chosen few. But I believe every person is created for an impact that blesses the world, but also brings great fulfillment for them.
Yep. That is lovely. So how do you help your clients identify the areas where they are holding back from their potential?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. I think a lot of it for me in many of the things we do, specifically in my course, Life Mastery, and the book Life Mastery, Living Life by Design, we initiate by saying that there's a created value, there's an identity that is you. And so for the work that I do with the people that I'm involved with, whether in business or they have a vocation or job or they're part of a boardroom or they're an entrepreneur, it all comes down to understanding that you're more and you're different than your outcomes and your achievements. And so for us, it's starting to unpack and that reality, that truth, so that you can separate yourself from the things that you do, because in that place, now all of a sudden you can, as I said earlier, you can dream those big dreams. You can have those amazing visions. The subject and the topic that you talked about, right? You're more than where you're at. You're more than today. You're more than your resume and your past. There's greater things that you can do. So if you're a multimillionaire, as some people are that I've worked with, there's still more. It's not relegated by the amount of income that you have or the title that you finally achieved. What it really is unleashing, as I say in my book, Life Mastery, Living Life by Design, not by Default. It's unleashing that hero in hiding. It's the full fleshed out version of who you were created to be. And so for us, it's saying, first and foremost, there's always more than where you're at. And secondly, your past doesn't have to equal your future unless you let it.
Hmm. Quite interesting, Mark. Um, so, do you think it is possible to aim too high or have overly ambitious goals? How do you find the balance between dreaming big and staying grounded at the same time?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think there's two things here. So I love that question because, is it possible to think too big? And the easy answer would be to say no. But it is possible to have a dream that doesn't belong to you. And what I mean is this: a lot of times, is in my life as well, as I was growing up and started my entrepreneurial journey, became a business owner and developed things. It was the easiest thing to look at somebody else successful in the field and say, I want to have that life.
Yes.
Whoever the person is, that man or woman that's amazingly successful. And so you want their, you want their outcomes, you want their income, you want their possessions, not that you want to take it from them, but that's what you believe is the epitome of success. And so it's not possible to dream too big because I believe innately on the inside of us is an unspoken vision of who we're created to be and the things we're created for. But you can have the wrong vision, as that old saying goes, climbing the wrong mountain by looking at somebody else's success, their idea of what fulfillment and success looks like, and saying, okay, well, that must be it. I need to go for theirs. I've had people that I've worked with, again, clients who are highly successful entrepreneurs. And sometimes what you find is when you're going for success for its own sake, it's typically going for it in replacement of an identity. So if I am a successful person, if I am a multimillionaire, if I have that title of CEO or whatever the thing is that you're looking for, then I'll be important. And it's going after something that maybe isn't your dream. It's the dream that you've been given by somebody else. And so for me, it's a clarification with the people we work with of absolutely, there's no dream too big for your ability to accomplish it. But if you're looking towards somebody else to give you a dream of who you are, you may be looking in the wrong place.
That's a great answer, Mark. So, what advice would you give to someone who feels stuck but is unsure of what they are capable of?
That's a great question as well. The first thing I would do if I had a conversation, they were sitting down with me and we were working together, the first thing I would ask is, what are you telling yourself? There's a phrase I tell the people that I work with, the clients that I have, the people that I have the chance to coach and mentor. It's this: who you think you are, you'll become.
Oh,
And what that means is you are today, whether it's you or myself or everybody listening to this podcast, you're the sum total of your thoughts and your beliefs about you. And we think that that's a disqualifier, that doesn't allow us to dream bigger or have more. But here's the truth of the matter. And understanding that truth, now all of a sudden you also understand the formula to change it. So if you are today the sum total of your thoughts, who you believe you are, you'll become, then the way to align and find that vision, that dream, that passion we talked about to become that person you're created to be, as I say, that hero in hiding, is to proactively change your thoughts, to give yourself new structures, new sentences, new affirmations that align with the person you believe you are, not the person that you used to be.
Hmm. That is interesting. Uh, so, could you walk us through a quick blueprint or exercise from Life Mastery that can help
Mm.
listeners take action today?
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing I would do would be to have an understanding, again, we're more than our outcomes. And so what that means is for us, it's a structure of creating an identity statement. You could call it an I am statement.
Mhm.
And in that statement, it really is simply saying this: who you are apart from your accomplishments, your outcomes, right? It's the income, it's the possession, it's the title, it's the role, it's the things you have that you believe make you who you are. Take all of those and set them aside. And while all that stuff is stripped away, who's the person standing in front of me? That's the person that you're created to be. So it's a character statement. It's understanding, you're a person of compassion, you're a person of grace, you're a person of love and joy, you're an easy friend and an amazing partner. You're somebody who diligently follows through on the things that you're passionate about. You can be counted on to fulfill the things that you're called to. So those are certain I am statements, and it's a character statement of who you are apart from your activities. And why that's important is, as you had mentioned and asked earlier, those times where you feel stuck, those times when maybe you have negative thought patterns, you're having these things that are these thoughts rolling around in your head that you can't do it, you shouldn't try, you should stop, right? Those things that limit us or stop us from trying to reach towards those big goals. You can use generic mantras, generic affirmations of, I am wealthy, I'm a person of accomplishment, I'm a person of success, whatever these things are. But the truth of the matter is, in most cases, frankly, every case I know, my life and with those clients that I work with, those don't change your thoughts because they don't align with who you believe you really are. When you say those generic affirmations, you already know on the inside you're not that person. Mm-hmm. And if you were to become that person, as we talked about, reaching for somebody else's goals, you're simply an imitation and second best. And we all know that inherently. And that's why it never works. You try them over and over again, but those thoughts still keep coming back. But if you give yourself affirmations that align with who you are, that I am statement that we just talked about, mm-hmm. It's not me reaching for somebody else's dream or imitating somebody else. It's me saying, this is a person of value and worth, this being me. And as you continue to remind yourself, one of the secrets that a lot of people don't realize is your thoughts are under your control. You are able to replace negative, disempowering thoughts, I call them, with empowering, positive ones. And in doing so, you actually continue to build confidence. And what you'll find is that that person that you're created to be, that man or woman that you believe you are, starts to show up in your business, in your roles, in times of stress, right? Like myself, I remember in business being woken at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat because some transaction happened or didn't happen. We weren't making payroll, or I couldn't pay a major bill, or, there were transactional things that happen in business that can go, positively or negatively. And so waking up at 3 a.m, beating myself up, believing that I may have blown it, or, this is going to ruin the business and all the things you think about. Come to find out that you can actually stop those things. You can stop the negative thought patterns by giving yourself affirmations that align with who you're created to be.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and it's a very interesting process. So while breaking out of our comfort zones is often valuable, Mark, can there also be wisdom in knowing when to stay where you are and make the best out of it?
That is a great question. I love that question. I remember in a time of my life, I was working in a vocation in a place that I felt I wasn't given the worth and value that I deserved. And so I was working there at a time, and I realized something. I had an epiphany. I was working in what's called graveyard shift, which is the midnight till 8 a.m. shift, the shift that nobody does and nobody's around, and it's the quietest time of the day, especially in business. And I came to this realization, and it was this young man who I was at the time, who didn't feel like they were valuable or measured up or whatever, or wasn't really given the credit for the things they were doing. They weren't getting the promotion or the income. And so in that place, I had this realization, and it was this, that I won't move past this place until they learn the lesson I'm supposed to learn in this place. And a lot of times we feel like we're stuck, or we're in a place where, I want more. I want that dream. I believe I can be that supervisor in my warehouse, or I can be that manager in my office, or I can be that entrepreneur that opens up this wonderful business and creates services for the community. But I don't have a chance or ability to get there right now. Here's the truth I would tell the folks, and I hope this aligns with what you're asking. It's the understanding that the thing that allows me to achieve and accomplish in my next endeavor, my next level, the next thing that I'm doing, is learning the lessons I need to learn in this one. Yeah. There's no place of stagnancy where you're just sitting there doing nothing. What is really happening is you're developing, you're learning, you're growing, you're maturing, you're gaining wisdom in the place where you're at right now. And the more fully you invest in this time, as I learned in my own life on that graveyard shift, the more I invest in this time and learn everything I need to learn now, the faster, more completely I'm equipped to be able to have and to steward those things that I'm going to be called into at the next level. Your promotion to the next level is absolutely determined by your diligence in your current level.
True. That is true. Great. That was a great answer. So, in your experience, Mark, what's one common fear people need to overcome to reach their full potential?
Fear of failure. There's a multitude of fears, and to be totally honest, every fear of failure, imposter syndrome, insecurity, fear of success, any of those things are really an identity statement. It's a belief system that says I may not be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And but if you take fear of failure, there's two things. There's the I may not be good enough, that identity statement, right? Which is counteracted by the things we've talked about before, creating an I am statement and using it as affirmation to remind yourself of who you are, to change your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the secondary part of it, and it's this part that says that if I fail at something, then I guess that wasn't for me. Whether it's academically in a university course, or it's trying to start a business as an entrepreneur, it's not working, or you're in a role as a manager, as a supervisor of somebody of responsibility, and maybe you lost that job, and we can get this understanding that this isn't who we are. This isn't for me. I guess I should give up. And the challenge with that, whether you're a successful business person, a person in university, in school, or somebody in a role at a job, is that the definition you give it will determine what you do afterwards. And the interesting thing that I found was anybody who is amazingly successful or really successful at any level has never been successful the very first time they did it. The truth of the matter is anybody who reaches for big dreams and goals and visions for their life, they don't have all of the knowledge and wisdom they need to get there. And one of the quickest ways of learning how to have that knowledge and what you're missing as far as your knowledge base is striving for something and not having it work out, failing. So my question that I give people, and I had it in a recent conversation with somebody of very high success, amazing in business, but challenged in that place where he would fall short or shortcut himself. He wouldn't reach for the large goals, but only the ones he could control. And many times that's how we are in our life. But what I told him was this: failure as one of two ideas based upon it. The first is the failure means that I'm just not cut out for this thing, which is probably a lie. And I know it is in his life, and I'm sure anybody who's listening. Mm-hmm. The second definition is failure is my opportunity to learn what I'm missing that I need to have more knowledge in and more attention and focus to.
All right. That's good.
That second definition will give you the ability to pick yourself up from whatever that issue is, challenges that you walked through, find the answers to the questions that you get in it, and become better for it and succeed the next time.
That's a great answer, I think, and it's one of the most crucial takeaway from this discussion for our listeners. So, Mark, how can the mindset of you are more than where you are impact not just business, but also personal relationships?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the same happens for both. Is a lot of times we settle for what we can control and what's comfortable. And in relationships, I'm actually married. I've been married for 33 years. At the end of this year, it'll be 33 years with my wife. Mm-hmm. And come to find out in marriage or in relationship in general, sometimes you can settle for what's easy, not strive for what's great. Mm-hmm. And in that place, even in relationship, because I have been married 33 years, 32 years ago, 31 years ago, right? We were 1 year married, 2 years married. That wasn't the end of the journey. And now we move on to what we have to do next. Mm-hmm. It's an opportunity to invest, to go deeper, to understand more, to become more connected, to find all those aspects and nuances of relationship that make it the most amazing thing you can have, whether it's a friend relationship, a family relationship, or a marriage one. And so at the end of the day, it's those things of dealing with what's comfortable. And if I could give a quick aside, one of the other things is something I tell people that I work with. Many people I have it's typically their business or their vocation that they're trying to succeed at, and they're trying to gain identity statements and overcome negative thought patterns. But there was, there actually been several clients, but one that comes to mind was a man who was very successful. I'll call him Bill, and he was very successful in business, but his relationship at home wasn't as successful. He was a provider and he took care of his family, but he wasn't really emotionally relevant or there for them. He wasn't present, as you would say. And so he would come home and, he did his part because he provided for the home and all the provisions and all the things that they had. But he wasn't somebody who could give conversation with his wife, let him know where he's at. It'll help to share, emotional vulnerabilities and, those opportunities to share the real you. It was always this stoic kind of quiet person who didn't share much about anything. And through the life mastery journey, understanding, some of those things, I tell people, you living from who you're created to be or what your past has told you. And for him, his past and negative relationship outcomes had told him that he can't be trusted with other individuals. He can't be vulnerable. He can't show who they are because he may be rejected. And come to find out, what he found was that it was the opposite. The more he understood who he was, again, identity, that I am statement, the more he was confident showing up as that person. And all of a sudden he was an engaged husband and a present father who invested in the relationship, and they felt like they had somebody they could trust and know, and the whole home life changed. So it's the same for any person. Who you are at work, who you are in your business is who you'll be at home. We think we can compartmentalize our stress and those aspects of our life, but the only person who thinks they can compartmentalize those is the person doing it. Everybody around them realizes and recognizes that they're hiding part of their life. They're standing behind a wall of conflict and conflict avoidance or whatever the thing is that they're using. So it happens in both business and in relationships.
Hmm. That's quite an analysis. Great, Mark. What insights we are getting through this conversation. And finally, if our listeners, they want to connect with you and explore about life mastery and more about living life by design, how they can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I try and be a one-stop shop, which means everything is on my website, which is at freedom-4-life.net. It's freedom-4-life.net. And you can find my Life Mastery course there. And also the book that we mentioned, which was Life Mastery, Living Life by Design, Not by Default. The course is really full-fledged for people who are, just ready for, like myself, you're ready for all of the tools. You don't want to have part of the knowledge or some of the information. You want to have all of it because you're ready and you're a go-getter doing it today. But I also wrote the book, Life Mastery, Living Life by Design, Not by Default, for those folks who want to have some nuggets, some tools and strategies that they can maybe quickly apply to their life. The book is for that, and you can see that out on my website as well.
Great. We'll have all the details mentioned in the show notes for our listeners. And Mark, that was such a profound and inspiring conversation. It's really inspiring to hear from you about the transformative power of life mastery and how each of us, every one of us, irrespective of our profession or our personal background, has the potential to live life by design, not by default. So, thank you so much for coming on the show and helping us with your inspiring journey as well as your insights.
It's been my joy. Thank you for having me.
And listeners, if you are feeling stuck or are unsure about your path, remember that you are more than where you are right now. And for anyone seeking support or looking to dive deeper into their journey of self discovery, we encourage you to check out Mark's Life Mastery course and resources. You can refer the show notes along with this episode on your favorite podcast platform. And until next time, embrace your power and keep striving forward toward the life you were meant to lead. This is your host, Sana, signing off.